First thing I wanted to do was to read the Christmas holiday poem. Centric, selfless, they do not seek the center of attention. They seek the center of God, to the glory of one. All attention then is God, to God. Attention at attention. Our will steady. As we look, always one way, love. The selfless will their wills to all. No one neglected, left behind. The selfless love the self of all. Rather inclusive. Now, the issue is the word for most people, selfless. For so many people, selfless means I'm not going to get. It's not about me. I got to give up so much. I'm not. Who is it that says that? A narrative. A combination of letters that calls itself me. And everyone is me. Isn't that ironic? I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. When I have a conversation, I'm talking to me. Who is this me? It's a joke. And the me that each of us holds on to has a series of desires, will, that it desperately wants. And if it's fulfilled, it believes it wins and is happy. However, that little I desire, I struggle, I get what I want, I win, usually is a tiny segment of time. And we have to look at that it has repeat signs right after it. So the joke's on me. where we are in the world right now is very disturbing. And most people want the removal of discomfort and see removal of discomfort as a goal. The question is, how do we remove discomfort? What is the discomfort? Is it good discomfort, bad discomfort, purpose of discomfort? And who is it that actually wants the removal of discomfort? Is it me? It usually is. It's all the gazillion me's that want the removal of discomfort. So then, ultimately, who creates the discomfort? The all. For whose benefit? All. To disrupt who? Me. So that me is no longer identified with a narrative that it is so held on to. So last week we did disturbing, correct? And the opposite of that, if you remember, was calming, reassuring. The positive of disturbing is making change wakes up. And the negative of calming, reassuring, I wanted to make this one clear, is put to sheep. Isn't that where we're supposed to be heading right now? Ba. Puts to sheep. We are being herded by disturbing. And it's incredibly successful. We did disruptive, and the opposite is static, stale. And the negative of disruptive was destructive. And the positive of static, stale was stable, measured. So, in that sense, if disruptive is positive, what is it disrupting? If it's a positive, it's disrupting me. Now, in Yoga Sutra, second section 15, talks about the law of change. Everything's always changing. So it's either very slowly changing or very quickly changing, but that law is always going. And at the same time, there's a law of habituation. And so we get into habits, and then the law of change. And we get into habits, and then the law of change. And we also have the three gunas: inertia, activity, and calm, playing. And depending on where we or where me is, we're going to feel things are destructive or disruptive. we're either going to be put to sheep or we're going to be calm. And put to sheep is inertia. Calm is sattvic. Making change and wakes up is sattvic. Disturbing is rajasic, leaning toward tamasic, inertia. So, next dichotomy I wanted to work with, and we did a little of this on, I think, Thursday, and we had started this 2 weeks ago, which is promotes failure, right? Which is one of your favorite things?
Yep.
You're an expert at it? Your answer is almost. You're working at it.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Get at
It's not quite to 10,000 hours.
No.
it. But getting there. All right. So promotes failure. Another way we got to of what to call that would be self-sabotage. And the opposite of promotes failure, self-sabotage, is encourage your success. Encourages your success or my success. Again, the issue has to go to, and just bear with it, have to go, who's my? Who's me? Whose success am I getting? Who am I promoting? And who am I sabotaging when I do self-sabotage? So the positive of self-sabotage ends up being rigorously maintaining, quote, who I am. Who I am, in quotes. And once you start looking at that, and how many people do you know say, I know who I am, or I found me, or I'm being the better me? What did you do? Go into Oxford Dictionary and change your vocabulary? Because that's as good as the me that you're deciding is going to get. It's just a group of vocabulary words that we put a lot of energy into and then call that me, who I am. And the negative of encourages my success is ruins everything. Uprooting. So if we look at the world right now, we need to discern between when it is good, that things are disruptive and disturbing, and when it's not. When it's a positive and when it's a negative. When it is calm and when I'm becoming sheep. And when it's static and stale and when I am stable. And that depends on who me is. So in sadhana, incredible amount of disturbance, incredible amount of disruption to me. Our narratives are perfectly put together stories turn upside down. They're supposed to. Why?
It's not who we are, and it has to be dismantled. It has to be.
Right, it's not who we are. But if we are wrongly identified with our narrative, which is the human condition, we are going to resist the dismantling of our narrative. We're going to hold on, think we're being stable, think we're rigorously maintaining who we are, and resisting at all costs. Why? Because we don't know who we are. We only think we know who we are. It's a thought form that says, I know who I am. It's a joke. I know who I am. I know who I am. It's ignorance. Taking what's not self to be self. What's impure to be pure. What's temporary to be permanent. And once we do that, we then lose our real subject, who we really are, apparently, not really, but we appear to. We're cloaked. And we appear to lose our subject in the object that we now call me. And once we do that, we're then attracted to things based on me. I like cashmere. I don't like itchy wool. We're attracted to, we're repulsed. And then we cling for dear life. So it's more than, though it appears to be fear of death, of our narrative, it's actually we're clinging. It's a positive. We're clinging. I cling to who I am. You can't change me. You can't make me whatever. And in sadhana, it's going to be disturbing. So in a lot of cases, people will think that the person who is encouraging sadhana is promoting failure, is promoting self-sabotage, and ruining everything. Ruins everything. And oh my God, the uprooting that I feel. Now, out there in the world, it's disturbing. It's disruptive. Things are really, and it's everywhere. Notice that? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So, how many people think they can remain calm by putting themselves to sheep? A lot. Just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. It'll be fine. Go with the flow. So I avoid, I deny, I go with the flow. And all of a sudden I'm in a pen somewhere with a bunch of others going bah. And I'm longing to be that beautiful border collie that just got me there. I like border collies. In sadhana, the outside may never change. Never had a bad day. Do you think all of a sudden your parents are going to now love you when they neglected you all in the past? All of a sudden, they're going to change. They're going to love you. That's magical thinking. That's part of the narrative. That's maintaining me. That is an immature view of sadhana. Why?
Because it's not about becoming a shinier version of the you that you think you are. Sadhana is to get to know who you truly are.
Right. And it's not going to change your mommy and daddy. Your mommy and daddy have to do the work themselves in order to get to that place of love. They don't do that. It's not going to change. Nothing changes. But people think that it's all going to change. It's all going to be just rosy.
Goes back to the trick of not being at the mercy
Of the outside. Exactly. It is about why I went to Baba. Because I did not want to be at the mercy of the outside. Whether it was good, or bad. I didn't want to be wrongly attached, wrongly identified, wrongly in need. So basically, it was the removal, and it's the removal of my wrong understanding of where everything comes from. My experience of tremendous joy and bliss, I thought, came from practicing Tai Chi. Tai Chi was just a farmer. And I promise you, not everybody practicing Tai Chi experiences joy and bliss. It's not a universal. It's not a guarantee. It's not a for sure. I wanted that experience that I had wherever I went. Now, People then believe, oh, you're going to experience bliss in the midst of the most horrible experience. Not necessarily. There's going to be, unless you are absolutely identified back to God, that's where the bliss comes from. The emotions still are at work. You're still in a body. Me is still in a body. The body still functions. The emotions still function. The psychic instrument still functions. It needs to be used, and it will be used. Just as when this woman's child drowned when we were in Australia, Baba didn't just smile and be in bliss. He sat with the mother and cried with her. He wasn't attached, who he truly is, but everything was appropriate. So, this is all very nice, but there's something that's missing. Because this is all, somebody could be telling you all this right now. And it's you can find it in any scripture. It's an intellectual understanding. The piece that's missing is grace. And grace comes in the form, initially, of Shaktipat. And it's called many different things depending on the tradition. And without the Shakti from Shaktipat, that awakening, we can only think about who we truly are. It is from grace that we get the opportunity to experience who we truly are, and then begin the process, the long process for most of us, for most of the me's, of knowing and discerning the difference between who I truly am and who I think I am. But until we've had that experience, which is completely out of the mind, it is completely off the grid, we're only going to function on the grid using our intellectual facilities and think we know who we are, but don't. The other piece is we're going to go back and forth and we can have an experience. But if we then allow our narratives to take ownership of that experience, we're going to think we are really, really, really special. I am special. I have this experience. I have that experience. And I got to tell you, experiences, meditation experiences, oh my God, if I were to tell you right now what I am experiencing, oh, I'm amazed I'm speaking. It doesn't matter. It's just a part of Prakriti. Ultimately, it is no big deal. Doesn't ever make me special. And once we know who we are, it never makes me special. They are just guideposts. So I have a dirty dish. I go to the sink. I have some soap and I have a sponge. And there's water. I turn the water to hot. I put a little soap on the sponge. I clean off, scrub the dish. I scrub the dish and rinse it off. Oh my God, the plate's clean. I am so special. Wow. I'm terrific. I practice. I surrender. I dismantle. I let go of my identification with thought forms. Lo and behold, I follow the words and instructions of my guru. And lo and behold, no difference. I don't get to get a big gold star for washing that dish. It's the same thing. And if you look at the scriptures, people looking at all the magnificent experiences from beginner, they're magnificent. Oh my God, they're fabulous. Oh my God, this is so special. This is terrific. It's so important. I'm so important. From people who have gone beyond, they're a hindrance. They're a distraction. They get in the way. Just as I have to take that soap and the sponge and the water to get that dish clean, you have to go through those experiences. We're going down that road. Everybody ultimately is going to have a level of those experiences. Nothing to make us proud of. Nothing to be. And if we do that, then we're making sure we are rigorously maintaining who I am. And we're not allowing the encouragement of success. We are not going, everything gets ruined. Why does everything ultimately going to be then seen as ruined?
This is the world getting turned upside down.
Yes.
The narrative self.
The narrative self, even when we're attached to those experiences, the Shakti, God's grace. You want to call it the Holy Spirit? That's fine. Whatever you want to call it. Is going to continue to work. And if you want to have those experiences, you have to do certain things to keep them going, which is unwittingly ruining everything. Slowly. You may rigorously be holding on, but it is bit grain by grain by grain uprooting. It's up to us to encourage our own success by having correct understanding, was what I said about why I was going through the intellectual understanding, and then receiving the grace. And if you receive the grace, you better have some respect for it. Don't belittle it. Don't cheapen it by thinking it's just a bunch of spectacular experiences that make you special. Ultimately, it is going to fill every pore of every vehicle, and then you get to be me with a capital M. So it is about disturbing, but it's making changes, waking up. And it's calming and reassuring as we move down and understand the truth. And we are living in interesting times. Very disruptive. It's going to be disruptive. Our responsibility is not to then cave in and be sheep. And sheep is being both rebellious and reactive and going along with. We're participants in disruptive if we're reactive. Our responsibility is to stay focused on God, stay focused on love, and where it really comes from. And navigate from there.